And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Nordic Masters 2024. My name is Woolhall, better known on the internet as the Woolhall EXP, and I am joined by none other than our current modern Pro Tour champion, player of the year, Simon Nielsen. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing very well, thank you. I just, got to watch some sweet modern in round one.
We did. Sweet 2 is Week 2. So good that we thought we get some more sweet decks in round number 3. We're resolving our mulligan here. Looks like we go down to 6 on the Goblins side. Goblins can be a very fast combo deck, can win as early as turn number 3. I've played a lot of this deck. I'm fully aware of how good it can be. But is this going to be a factor? Are we just going to see two ships sailing past each other? Is there going to be much interaction from either of them in this? Or is it just who's going to be able to combo the quickest?
I think there... So the Goblins deck certainly has some interaction because of the... what's the name? The munitions expert, which is the goblin that comes into play and can deal damage to something, and so like that's gonna be like an important tool to deal with what Thomas is doing. On the other end, I'm not sure Thomas actually has that much interaction in the Amalia deck. There is a couple of Orcish Bowmasters which might be really important.
And a Grist?
The Grist also, yeah, and that's something you can tutor up with your Court of Calling or even with your Birthing Ritual. So I think in the game one it's gonna be like, a little bit of interaction, but mostly they're trying to like see who can do their thing the fastest. But post-war, like that's when you'll see, the balance of like trying to keep enough combo pieces while still having the interaction you need. So we have here an Ether Vial for the Goblins deck, which is really gonna like turn that deck up to up to 100. And Thomas is just passing the turn here. That sounds a lot like a Bowmaster to me.
Is modern healing? We're seeing a turn 1 Aether Vial.
Yeah, no.
Hasn't seen that in a long time.
Ban everything until the Ether Vial becomes good again.
I'm all here for it, though. Here comes one of the. This is one of the fast lands we saw these. Did we see a full cycle of it? I can't remember. But like,
this is not a fast land. This is Auntie's Hovel. This is the one where you have to reveal a goblin.
Was there a cycle of these? There was this one for goblins. There was one for soldiers or something.
One for giants, like one for each creature type.
Yeah. So there was a cycle of it. A little bit before my time, but like I'm fully aware of this, the goblins one. Here comes the Marshal, along with a 1/1 token, Echo.
Little friend. And yeah, if Thomas indeed does have apparently the second Bowmaster in hand, because the other one is on the bottom of the deck. I wonder what he's going to kill. Either like going for the Marshal itself or just like, going for the Goblin token.
Oh, it's got to be a token, right?
Probably.
It's got to be a token.
Probably,
get that value where you can get it.
Might as well. Unless there's like some sort of like, there's nothing that like returns the Marshal to hand, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the Marshal might even die next turn anyway, creating that token, so there's no reason to.
Aether Vial on 1, there's no Lords that are 1 mana yet anyway, in Modern that we're
so see, Thomas has a spicy 1-off here with 6 in hand. So that's a card that can give all your permanent cards in your graveyard retrace, so you can just discard a land to replay something. It's a very good grindy card for the grindy matchups, and it's not that well situated here.
I've been told that this is basically like the Lurrus, like a Lurrus Reborn, so to speak. It can be used to get like a lot of your permanents out of the graveyard. Not as good as Lurrus, but people are comparing it to it.
Similar vibes, yeah, I do agree with that. And also, I think actually importantly, something it does that Lurrus doesn't do is that it mills you when it attacks, and then you can get a land into your hand. So it actually also gives you card advantage that way, but also searches for your combo pieces.
Here comes Basic Forest. Have you got a type of basic that you like to use in your decks?
Yeah, I always use Time Spiral basics. Like I have for like 12 years.
And that's the secret. Okay. Now everyone go and order those. Strap your decks to them. I know as a Saga player. Maybe that's why mine aren't so good. 6 is going to come down here though.
Yep, and there's still that Court of Calling in hand. So Thomas is like missing, he can, there's a bunch of different combo pieces he can end up drawing here. If he draws like Waggoth Walker, he can go get Amalia if he has a way to gain life. If he draws a Samwise, he can go get a Sacrifice Outlet. And so he actually has a lot of really good draws, and that's what this Court of Calling enables. It's like so much of his deck is live.
What's the reason for playing the Samwise combo over, say, Yawgmoth?
I think Birthing Ritual is the big part of it. Like that card is not as good in Yawgmoth because you're looking for a 4-drop, whereas in this deck where you're looking for all 1 and 2 drops, Birthing Ritual is so much better. And also, Samwise is a lot faster. It's like much more consistent killing turn 3 than Yawgmoth ever does. And so it's like kind of like a different thing where like Yawgmoth might struggle a bit against Ruby Storm. The Samwise deck has a lot more game there. And I think there's a lot of advantage there. On the other hand, it can't interact with the opponent nearly as well as Yawgmoth can. Yawgmoth is very good at playing the mid-range interactive game, whereas the Samwise deck is like mostly just all in.
I like that, especially in game ones, it's a lot better. We're going to have a little look here. This is the Battle Cry Goblin. So, 2/2 for 2 mana. You can pump it, give all your goblins haste plus and +1/+0. If you attack with 6 power or more, you get to generate another token. So really good again once you start building this big board state up. And we do have an Aether Vial on 2 as well. Are you a fan of just tapping this even if you don't have something to play, just to make your opponent think?
I remember something Thomas Enevoldsen said on stream at some point, that it's something you have to do. You only do it whenever you have a story to tell. Like if you're actually representing something that could make the opponent react, then you do it. But otherwise, there's no reason to.
But it can be a bit of a cry wolf situation otherwise.
Yeah, you might just like if you do it too much, you also reveal that it's in your range to just tap it for no reason, and so the opponent will like see through your bluffs.
Boom. Now we've got the players on the screen as well, so you can have a little look.
Very cool. So we see 6 attacking here. And yeah, so the glared card here is Battlecry Goblin, the 2/2, which is a card that's quite interesting in the deck because it's not really part of the combo. The Goblin deck is a combo deck. We'll explain the combo later. But it's really good for the backup plan of just spamming the board with little guys.
Yeah, the amount of times I play a lot of Yawgmoth, the amount of times in Yawgmoth I've just won from beatdowns and not actually doing the combo, and we might see that here in the Goblins
And I see
deck.
actually Thomas drew a Viserys here, which is that combo piece that is needed. So right now, if he can line it up, you can go Court of Calling for Samwise, then play the Viserys here, and then you get the combo. What he's thinking about right now, though, is Munitions Expert.
Okay. And that's the one card we've got to play around. So how is there any way that we can line this sequence up and play around it? Because we've also got a Dry Arbor in hand as well, so we haven't played our land drop for the turn, so that could be another land plus creature for Cord.
The good thing about this combo is that it's very resilient to removal once you have an extra food token in play. But it doesn't do that right now. So I think what he can do is... Yeah, I think he might just like have to go for it. Because like if he plays the Viserys here first and then passes with the Cord up, then he doesn't have access to food at all to like start the combo.
So we are going to Cord for 2, as you said. Samwise is probably where we're going to go. Here he is.
It also doesn't matter that much if the Samwise get killed, because you can just get it right back with your 6.
Yeah. Which remember we did attack with Mildacobble, so we do have a redundant land in hand as well. We're going to have a little read there of Samwise. Maybe we can get that on the screen for everybody to have a little look at as well. It isn't one we see particularly a lot in Modern. Maybe this is the resurgence now with the Nardu ban. Samwise does have a lot of text on it. As you mentioned, 2/2 for 2.
Yeah, but the main text here is actually pretty simple. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a food token.
And then talk me through one more time, because I think we're going to end up seeing how this combo works.
Well, yeah, if Maximilian does not have a removal spell here with the Munitions Expert, then yeah, what happens is the Viserys here will make a food token, then can sacrifice the Cauldron Familiar, get it back from the graveyard, sacrificing the food token, and then when Cauldron Familiar comes into play, well, that makes another food token, because Samwise sees it, is like, oh, here you go, kitty, here's the food. And then the cat is like, well, I'm gonna, like, go eat that and come back again.
And we do the combo now, right? While the Aether Vial is tapped, while the trigger's on the stack, this is where we do the combo.
Yes. It seems like Maximilian let that thing resolve, probably did not have the Munitions Expert in hand, just tapped the vial to do something else, and then the really nice thing about this combo is that it happens instant speed. So like once you have your pieces in play, it doesn't matter if the opponent can interact, because you can always just do the thing in response.
Well, and that's what we saw, right? So now that's winning game at number 1. Goblin's now going to be down a game. But they get to go to sideboarding, but we also have access to their deck list, so we can probably get them on the screen for everybody to have a look at. So talk me through this. Let's start on the right. Goblins is game down. What can I bring in to shore up this matchup?
Yeah, so from the Goblin side, like, you just really run into action. So the Fatal Pushes and the Tarfire. Tarfire is really nice because it's a removal spell you can tutor up with your Goblin Matron. So those are the things you're really looking at. I think there's like too many mana dorks in the combo deck to like really bring in Blood Moon, but you maybe could underplay. Then you also have the Creator Maker, of course, which is another like piece of interaction. And like the combo pieces in this deck, they're like 2/2s. So like any sort of interaction does work to get them off the board. The issue is, of course, that the Samwise deck is quite consistent at like getting them back. And then I also think Goblins might be interested in Master Mantle if he realizes that there's a birthing ritual in the deck. He might not realize that yet, but I think the Master Vandal is going to be really important for that as well.
Yeah, I love that. That changeling sees a lot of play in a couple of different decks, especially kind of some of the ones that we are not seeing so much in Modern, but maybe this is the resurgence of them. So let's go across to the Samwise deck. 1 game up, looked pretty spectacular game 1. Anything we can do, because the jig is that we know we're against Goblins. Is there anything that we think's good? Maybe we want some Haywire Mites. We saw a couple of Vapor Vials there, or is that going to be too slow in this game?
Yeah, so I think from the other side, I think you might also want a bit more interaction. I don't think you want to put too much though, because the Goblins deck is the one that's going to play more interaction, and so if you also put in more interaction, you kind of play into their game plan.
Okay.
Because the Goblins deck is much better playing a backup plan than the Samwise deck is. The Samwise deck pretty much can't win outside of its combos, whereas the Goblins deck can just get some dudes, yeah. So if you have Fatal Push and they have Mug War Marshal, that is not a good scenario for you. I do suspect he will bring them in, but yeah, it's like if you have 4 Fatal Pushes in your sideboard, I don't think you should bring in all 4, and you should just hope that you could raise their combo. I do think the Pithing Needle, however, is very good. So you can name Conspicuous Snoop.
Yeah.
Because that's the real combo in this deck is having the Snoop in play and then playing Boggart Harbinger, which lets you 2-drop a Goblin and put it on top of your deck. And so the Goblin you tutor for is Kiki Jiki, which has a very good activated ability. So Conspicuous Snoop, yeah, we can see the deck list here. Wow, that's so beautiful. Conspicuous Snoop gets to copy the activated ability of anything that's on top of your deck. And so Kiki Jiki doesn't say another. Kiki Jiki says, make a token of a non-legendary creature.
Yep.
So if Kiki wasn't legendary, he could make copies of himself. The Snoop isn't legendary, so it can make copies of itself. And so you can just make infinite tapped Snoops, which is, a bit ridiculous and not very useful. Until you then copy your Boggart Harbinger and then tutor for the Slingain Lieutenant. And then now all these tapped Snoops, they can now, fling themselves at the opponent one at a time until the opponent is dead.
Yeah, I think that when I was actually sat down watching them in the last round, the number I like to go with is 100,000. They went, I'll make 100,000 goblins. I will now sacrifice 100,000 goblins, doing you 100,000 damage. I'm like, sure, GG's. Let's go to the next game. See if we get a better opener here. I do see a couple. Well, in fact, I see probably too many lands.
Also, a Chthonian Nightmares is a nice new card for that Goblins deck.
Yeah, I like Nightmare, especially, I like it with Fulminating Mage when I play against Trump personally in my Yawgmoth decks. But in this deck, as we could be bringing back some of our key combo pieces. We could be bringing back that Expert, as you said, and just keep recurring, being able to kill my opponent's turn, especially if we've got a sack outlet like the Prospector. That's the one.
Yeah, Skirk Prospector.
Well, how high do you pick that card in Cube?
I don't play Cube.
What? Do you not play Cube?
Not really.
That's mental.
It's a rare treat.
It is a very rare treat. I love to do it. But here we are. We're off to the races. Surveil Land, turn number 1. There's Nightmare on the screen for anybody that doesn't know what this is. Obviously, a new card printed in MH3. How can Samwise start off? Well, I guess we're hoping with some sort of Mana Dork is probably the ideal.
Gilded Goose is the main one here. There's also Delighted Halfling that he can start on. I think he has a Viscera in hand, if I saw that correctly. But yeah, I think he's definitely happy to see that there's just a tap line and no Vial coming down from the Goblins deck here. So Thomas can just focus on doing his thing. So
he's going to play untapped. Fatal Push is at the front of the hand, but no targets for that.
Fatal Push, yeah. And then you see, like, the issue with merging 2 different combo decks is that right now his hand is he has the Samwise and the Viserys here, and then the Wildwolf Walker. And that is not a combo in any way, shape, or form. So so that's the awkward thing, that then you have these creatures that line up mismatchedly. But that also means he has a lot of ton of live draws, right? Because either Amalia or Cauldron Familiar is going to be incredibly good for him.
So let's have a little look. See, we're going to shock in this Temple Garden. Going to go down to 15. Even though I think it should be 16, right? We did fetch.
Yeah,
so we'll be 15.
Exactly, yeah.
Here comes Samwise. The problem child from game number 1. Echo cost. I thought about it. Your invitational card. It could be a wizard on one side with Echo. If you don't play the Echo, it flips into a goat. Boom. You're welcome.
And then that's all it does. It's one mana 1/1 flips into an 0/1.
Meta changing. I tell you. That's why I don't work for Wizards designing cards. Okay, we've got this Cavern of Souls. Which I love that that's now seeing loads of play in standard as well, by the way.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good reprint.
card to have back. It's a little awkward that the main thing it does is making attacks uncounterable, but you know, it's not quite what we wanted it to do.
Do you think Aether Vial would be good enough print into standard to bring into Pioneer? Or
that's an interesting question. Yeah, it might be reasonable. It might be a very reasonable card in modern Magic.
If we make Pioneer what 2014 Modern was, is what I'm getting at here.
I really want to play 2012 Modern against current Pioneer and see what's strongest.
Yeah, seen. All right, well, here comes the skirt. So now we can sacrifice everything, gain some more mana if we need be.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to our judges down working hard at the table for us.
Yeah, making sure that we know that these comments are naming Goblin, very very relevant. And I see. So there's still that Chthonian Nightmares in hand, right? But nothing in the graveyard yet. Of course, that's something that the Skirk Prospect... And there's also the Boggart Harbinger. So I think what Maximilian is considering here is whether to deploy that Boggart now, sacrificing a Goblin, or leaving up Munitions Expert. So I think his hand is, it's Expert, Nightmare, and Boggart Harbinger. So really, really strong hand and good at interacting. So it's basically because the Nightmare plus the Harbingers is quite the combo.
Talking about a Nightmare, here's the Birthing Ritual coming down that you spoke about.
Ritual, that is so interesting. And so actually, what Thomas could do here is fetch a Dryad Arbor if he doesn't have a 1-drop in hand. Fetch a Dryad Arbor, and then hope he sees the Cauldron Familiar top 7 and he could win the game right now. Of course.
That in itself is crazy.
Yes, and that's exactly what he's going to do. That's why I say this deck is pretty consistent at doing turn 3 kills. And that's what he's going to line up here. Also, because Maximilian let this resolve, there's a free food token as well that you can't respond to. Maximilian does have the removal spell here and might just respond to the Birthing Ritual trigger by killing the Samwise. Or even respond to the food token, make sure that...
Yeah, here it comes. So 1 damage for each creature goblin we control. We control 4, so there should be 4 damage going towards that Samwise. Mm-hmm. Which will be sacrificed in response, because we might as well get a Scry trigger while we can.
Yeah, that's nice. But then now, Thomas changed his plan, right? He can then try and find an Amalia, because he has Wildgrowth Walker in hand, and he will have the food token coming in if he remembers. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Top of the deck. Go to end step, top 7 cards. Let's have a little look at them.
In for trouble against this Nightmare that's going to loop the Munitions Expert. It's going to be not very pretty. And there is actually the Cauldron Familiar, so there would have been a turn 3 kill diverted by this Munitions Expert. This deck is so cool. We discovered this deck a couple days before the Pro Tour, and it was just too late to focus on it.
I don't know while this game's going on right now, we're having a look at the top 7, deciding which one we play. If we want to pick one in, remember it has to be a CMC of what we've got on the battlefield or one more. But to that Pro Tour, because the set was released so close to the Pro Tour, a lot of teams, a lot of players were saying they didn't have enough time to test the format. One trying to test every card in the format, every deck. We didn't have enough time. The team wasn't big enough. Same with also draft, because you've got to dedicate a portion of your time to draft as well. That's the secret, right? The secret to win a Pro Tour is you've got to get a good result in draft over the both days. As we do see Orcish Bowmaster being found here. Vizier is the one that's going to go. So 1 drop, we turn it into a 2 drop. That's going to generate a Orcamass token as well.
Actually not, because it killed the Skirk Prospector with Sacrifice itself, So what Maximilian really wants here is a second Black Source, so you can... Oh, that is a second Black Source. That was I think it's the double-faced land here from Modern Horizons. And that would allow you to sacrifice the Munitions Expert, bring back that Skirk Prospector, which is now in the graveyard. I guess there's also a Munk War Marshal, actually. That's even better. And then you replay the Chthonian Nightmares, bring back, sacrifice the Munk War Marshal to bring back the Munitions Expert, and it just causes all sorts of havoc on this board. You get to kill the Dryad Arbor, you get to make, 3 Goblins? It's just absolutely massive.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good turn. So free energy is gonna be gained. Using that free energy, we can return the 2-drop or 1-drop in the graveyard, depending on what we want. We can get rid of one of these goblins. Would you go to combat first?
To attack? Let's see. Yes.
Is it free damage at this point?
Yes, it is. I actually would go to combat, because if the Munitions Expert gets blocked, that's just as fine for you. You can just bring that back as the first thing. But here we see the Munk War Marshal being brought back here. So Chthonian Nightmares returns to hand. So you can do it all over again. You make this Goblin token. And now there's a juicy Munitions Expert in the graveyard. And so we just see this all over again. We can also see this energy counter. It's going to go up and up and up. It doesn't matter too much because there's literally no energy payoff. But at least it's kind of nice that you could like bring back a Kiki Jiki or something like, you know, a few turns down the line.
Yeah, and it was the grind element, right? Like we're seeing the grindy bit in this. And in this matchup, I think we've realized we need to be the control deck.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
If we've got this resurgence, basically we've got like 2 kill spells a turn if we really want to go that route here. Getting off the key combo pieces. Basically, any creature right now, though, could be a key piece because of that birthing ritual on the battlefield.
Yes, so it's going to be very interesting for Thomas here. So losing that land with getting the Dryad killed is like pretty like, bad for him. But what he does know about the situation is that the recurring nightmares, like the Chthonian nightmares, is only at sorcery speed. So he's trying to set up a combo we can do something at instant speed.
All in his turn. I suppose the side bar to that is if they hold up 2 more mana and potentially have another one in hand that they just hard cast. But here comes the Walker.
Yeah, so he plays out the Wildgolf Walker, and this is actually just bait because he has a second copy in hand. Because otherwise, I think it would be quite risky to like play out your combo piece. But he does have a second one, and so can
we just combo this turn though?
No, because there's no way to gain life is the issue. You need a way to like kickstart the combo, which is to either explore or gain life. So you trigger either Amalia or the Wildgolf Walker. And he's pretty close to it. If he didn't lose that land, he would have had it. And there's the Amalia, yeah. If he didn't lose the Dryad Arbor there, it would have been totally fine. He could crack the food token, and then he wouldn't win this turn, but he would get to like clear the board and have this big Amalia, and hopefully set up for another combo next turn.
Looks like we're going to cash it in there first Amalia. Why not? Represent that we've also got this combo, because last time we saw Samwise. Now we're giving up that we've got this Amalia combo, which if you haven't played in Pioneer in the last couple of months, then you might not know what this card does or can do. Is very powerful. Maybe we can get that one up on the screen as well. Production, please, just so everyone can have a
and this
look.
also really like asks Maximilian the question of which one do you kill? If Thomas has a second Amalia in hand, you have to kill the Wildgolf Walker, otherwise you die. But if he has a second Wildgolf Walker in hand, you have to kill the Amalia. And so Maximilian doesn't know that. So it's actually kind of tricky which one you're supposed to do. You might even have to roll a die to determine it. It's actually
is that how Pro Tours are? One is it? You just want to
I did that 4 times in Amsterdam. I am not kidding. I was very unsure of a line. It was a toss up, so I just rolled a die.
Hey, look, it works. There it is on the screen for everybody. In case it is now banned in Pioneer, the same ban that we did see Nardu and Grief go. And this, of course, is the first tournament played out here live on Twitch in paper. That is Grief free. That is Nardu free. And we're kind of seeing what the meta is going to be moving forward, shaping up. We're getting the metagame breakdown ready for you, so we'll be bringing you that in the next couple of rounds. I know, Simon, you've been working hard in between rounds trying to work out what people bring in. The first couple of rounds, though, of this tournament, we are bringing you the spicier decks in the room. Don't worry, there is lots of, Murktide Frog. There's lots of energy floating around the room. There's lots of control decks. There's a load of Breach and Tron decks floating around. But we've got these spicy ones, and they're doing extremely well. Why would we not get them on camera for all you people watching out there in Twitch land as the nightmare comes back down?
Yeah, what a nightmare it is here. So again, actually this time bring back the Skirk Prospector just to have access to it, which I think is pretty nice. Like, one Schaper draws even more black sources. It can be kind of nice to like cash in a Goblin token for red mana to be able to replay that Chthonian Nightmares even another time here. Oh, and here it's actually like spending that mana to play a Goblin Matron.
Let's go. Go 2 up Goblin.
So Schaper knows that he can't keep doing this forever. Eventually, Thomas will find a way to combo off on his own turn. And so he also has to set up his own combo in the meantime. And so this Goblin Matron can go find the Conspicuous Snoop, and Schaper has the Boggart Harbinger in hand. The tricky part about this combo, though, is the Snoop you have to untap with it. It has to not be summoning sick for the combo to work. So it's going to be a few turns down the line, but I think it's really smart of him to get back this Prospector right now so that he could start setting up this this scenario. And now Thomas knows. It's even on board kind of with the recurring nightmares, because you could get back the Matron and then tutor for the Harbinger, which can then tutor for the Kiki Jiki.
Well, that's the thing. So all we need to do is control the board. So do you even play the Kiki, the Snoop this turn?
Yes, I think you can. Oh, yeah, actually, the Snoop is going to be in his hand. Yeah, right. So you can play the Snoop this turn and try and win the game next turn.
So Snoop this turn, Nightmare this turn, get one of the key combo pieces off the other side of the battlefield, pass the turn, hope for the best.
It's pretty tricky though, because you have to sacrifice 4 things to do it. So you have to.
Only 3, right? Because we've got 1 land untapped.
Yeah, but
no,
also
yeah,
you
you
have
got
to
to
sacrifice to the
Goblin,
nightmare.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think you can just about do it. You play the nightmare first, sacrifice a goblin, and then you have enough to kill the Wild Wolf Walker if that's what you desire. But of course, we know that he has to kill the Amalia, otherwise he dies.
Here it comes down again. So 3 damage is going to get dealt to.
He's not sure, but he does target the Amalia. And Thomas with the second Wild Wolf Walker in hand says, yeah, he just has to play out the Wild Wolf Walker next turn and hope to like find an Amalia in the top 7. That's the plan.
So we're going to pay the ward, which is of course another 3 life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which to be fair doesn't matter that much. And yeah, now you can use the Skirk Prospector, sacrificing those 2 to play the Snoop. And that should be the win next turn.
Well,
for
it's hope.
Maximilian.
It's like I've done everything I can to disrupt you. I've done all I can to set up my own combo and pass. If we do see the right cards off the top, which Surveil Land might come in to really play here.
But doesn't Thomas still have that Fatal Push in hand?
Thomas does have a Fatal Push in hand.
That is huge. So yeah, Maximilian will have to wait a bit to get his supper here.
Do you fire off now?
I think so, because you have the free mana now. The only reason not to is to get a Surveil Land.
That's what I was about to say. Like, or do you think Surveil Land's more important here? But it looks
no, I think actually just firing it off now means that you can set up, because that you can set up to like spend your mana freely next turn, and I think that could be pretty important, especially if you draw an Amalia, for instance, like being able to like play Amalia, crack the food token is pretty nice. I guess if you do that, then you get to clear the Snoop anyway. But so maybe that's not too relevant.
Top deck, Chord of Calling. How's that work here? We've got the land drop. We've got another creature. We can chord for 1 at this point.
You can go for 2, tapping the Wild Wolf Walker as well. So you can go get the Amalia, but the issue is, once again, you can't start the combo. If he still had Dryad Arbor in his deck, he could fetch Dryad Arbor and then try and hit a Cauldron Familiar or a Synode Scout to start the combo.
But can't we go like Wild Growth Walker? See what we hit off the Birthing Ritual. If we hit something that gives us extra, like 2 drops or 1 drops.
Yes, true. He could actually play the Wild Wolf Walker, and if he hits a Bowmaster, he could hit for but he still has to gain the life as well. So it's pretty tricky.
What ways have we got to gain life? Do you have a food token?
He does have the food token, but then if he spends his 2 mana on the core, it doesn't work. Yeah, so he's just gonna take this line. If he hits Amalia here, he just wins the game. Oh, there it is. Oh, it doesn't win the game, but he just gets to do the thing, and
it does the thing, and the thing's normally good enough, making a 20-powered creature that definitely can't get off the battlefield.
Yeah, it's like the only thing that Maximilian could do to get around that would be to have an Aethervial on 2, and then you can flash in the Snoop and then win the game there that way. So yeah, he does hit this find another Amalia here, and yeah, like we know and love this combo in Pioneer. Now we get to see it right here in Modern. He's gonna sacrifice a fetch land, go crack that food, and then we're just gonna go to town.
So it's basically Fatal Push or bust at this point. Like, if we don't have a Fatal Push, this Amalia is going to just win the game, right? Because we've got no way to fling it at our opponent or anything. We do need to turn it sideways, right?
But also, like, Thomas is going to be able to, like, figure out, like, the best card to, like, get on top of his deck at this point. So I'm sure, like, he could, like, for instance, maybe that's why he plays the 6 in his deck. So that he can just restart everything.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It makes sense. I was speaking to him yesterday because they were playing it yesterday in the last chance qualifier, because there's 4 of them this weekend. So not only this weekend are the top 8 we'll see them at the regional championships, but also there's 4 more invites in 4 different side events this weekend. So loads of opportunities to play. So if you're not already following this channel on Twitch, you need to be following this channel on Twitch so you know every time we go live, especially tomorrow morning. If you're not also, you need to go follow Nordic Masters or Mindstage on Twitter to keep up to date, so you can also come to these events, have all these opportunities to try and get yourself to the regional championships, which will then get you to the Pro Tour. If you do a really good run, you can also find yourself straight to Worlds that way as well. Remember, there's 2 invites to the World Championships at the RCs, and you can be battling against this man to my right and maybe lifting a trophy just like he did only a few months ago. Here comes the top 7.
Oh, it's not the top 7. This is the Amalia combo just going off. And so what you'll see Thomas do here is just like keep the cards revealed, not moving any dice, and he's just gonna count until he gets to 18. So he actually just he cannot find a single land off the top, but it doesn't really matter. So the Amalia is just gonna grow at like incredible speed here. So essentially what happens?
Yeah,
Amalia says whenever you gain life, you explore, and Wild Wolf Walker says whenever you explore, you gain 3 life. And so this is like the perfect codependent relationship because they'll just keep feeding off each other. Amalia, if it wasn't for Amalia's second text, this would just go off into infinity. We would sit here, like 1,000 years from now, Thomas would still be going off. But the way it actually works is that Amalia says when she gets 20 power, she clears the board.
Yep.
And that
includes do 20 damage to them. Is that how it works?
No, it just destroys all other creatures.
Okay.
And that includes destroying that Wagglefalker, so you stop the loop. Because if you can't stop the loop, it would just be a draw.
Yeah, well, I remember watching some top 8 of a Pro Tour where that happened, and someone went 7 games and made a little bit of history there. I think it was the first game ever at a Pro Tour to go 7 rounds in the top 8. You and Big Chris.
Yes, that was incredible. It was such also because I fantasized about that exact moment, like meeting Amalia in the top 8 and just playing 6 or 7 games.
Trying to get that camera time. I got you. You know what I mean? I want to be on camera as much as I can. Sweet. Make that indestructible.
That's why I played that heroic deck. So let's see here, if there's any sort of thing that Maximilian can do here. He does have the fatal pushes. He drew another Snoop here, which could have been good if it had haste. Because then, you could almost have the combo.
Snoop fatal push? I suppose we can block, right?
Yes,
block is the other way.
So we do see Thomas stop right there when he hit the 6 so that he can just set up a different combo. And yeah, you will see. I think he's going to get back the Munk War Marshal here.
Get a couple of blockers.
Plenty of blockers. So the 6 can come down and you can get... I don't know what you're going to get. You're probably going to get a Viscera and a Gilded Goose back if you can. Yeah, he doesn't have enough lands for that. And then you try and hit Samwise off the top 7 to just win immediately. Otherwise, you're probably still fine.
We still get that Chord of Calling, remember, as well. So, Chord plus Birthing Ritual in play.
Oh, true. Yeah, there's also the Chord of Calling.
So a lot of it feels like we've got the tools. We've just got to try and, establish how we want to sequence them and what we need to hit.
Might have it right here with the Chord. I think he's 1 mana short. Yeah, he is.
So 6, 3 mana.
He's gonna have 4 creatures here untapped, so that's not quite enough to get the Samwise. He could just get the Samwise back right now, but that doesn't leave any opportunity to win. So I think he'll get Gilded Goose and Viserys here. The reason Gilded Goose is important is that if Samwise is the last combo piece to come into play, you don't have a food token to start the combo.
Okay. Makes sense.
But so the Gilded Goose will give you that food token. There is a Cauldron Familiar in the graveyard already, so it doesn't need that in play. It's not a very nice thing about this combo is that one of your combo pieces doesn't even have to be in play. It can just be in the graveyard, and it's just as good.
Is the Dried Arbor in the graveyard at this point? I can't remember if we...
It is.
This is the game that killed it, isn't it?
I'm not sure you can retrace that with 6. That's kind of interesting. But instead he decides to just go for the Samwise here. Doesn't even attack with Amalia. That's nice. It just doesn't care. And goes for this. And actually, this also works. If you hit a Viscera off the top 7 here, that would also be a win because the Viscera would come in, make a food token. And I think Thomas had 2 Samwises in the graveyard and only 1 Seer. So this is just increasing the chances, right?
Doing the odds. And how does that play into when you start getting to high level play, getting those extra win percentages of working that out? Where if I've got 2 in my graveyard, that means there's 2 left in my deck. Okay, I've got 1 in my graveyard, 3 left in my deck. There's 30 cards left in my deck. Percentage chance 1 in 10, 1 in 50. You know what I mean? How much is that going through your mind in the game when you're also trying to work the game, understand the game, navigate the game, and then you've also got to do all these extra math on the side of it to work out what's your best odds in the game.
I think all of those odds manipulation is somewhat irrelevant in the short scope, but it's incredibly important in the big picture. Over time, those math optimizations is what makes or breaks a lot of pro Magic, and so I think it's actually pretty important and something that all of us think a lot about when we play these games, just trying to turn your 50% into a 55%er. It's you do that, then you play 20 rounds over the course of 2 Pro Tours, and that's another win.
Yep.
1 game win at a Pro Tour is that's thousands of dollars.
It's huge. So no Echo being paid here, which means it will be sacrificed. Another Goblin token generated on the battlefield, but we have access to all 4 mana now this turn. How can we manipulate that and use it? We know about the Nightmare in hand.
Yeah, so I don't think Schaper's out of this yet if he can dodge the combo, because he can maybe get back that Snoop. As long as he has a blocker for the Amalia, and can untap with a Snoop, he's actually kind of there. I think he also has the opportunity to go get Munitions Experts first with the Recurring Nightmare. So he's trying to figure out if he can kill any of the important pieces. And I think he can go sacrifice his Goblin token, get back Munitions Expert, kill Samwise, and get that off the board. Of course, Thomas can just replay it right again, but it does restrict him because he can't replay the entire combo necessarily if he doesn't have enough lands.
No, we're going blockers. We're like, okay, if you've got the combo, we can't deal with the combo.
Okay, sure.
What we maybe we
he's
can.
gotta kill the 6. Yeah, that's so much smarter. Because I think he probably figured out that it's too likely that Thomas has a land in hand or draws a land, and then he can just reassemble the combo. But this way, killing the 6, there's nothing guaranteed. Of course, there's the Court of Calling, so you just chord for the Viserys here, and it's game over.
Chord for what we need. Chord for 1 here. It's a free green mana plus the extra 1 being the swamp. That's going to find the Vizier. Now, one last time, talk me through this combo. What are they doing?
Yeah, well, Viserys here comes into play, makes a food token. Now there's a Golden Familiar in the graveyard. You sacrifice the food token, bring that back, and then once it comes into play, Samwise says, give you another food. Then you can sacrifice the Golden Familiar so it goes back in the graveyard, and now you're the same place you started, except you drained the opponent for 1. So you can just go ahead again, bring back the cat, get a food, sacrifice cat, bring it, and you loop that. It's actually a very nice and simple combo compared to some of the atrocities we've seen recently.
Compared to some of the things we've seen recently. So on that one, that's end of round number 3 that we're doing. So we'll be back for round number 4 with the next set of casters momentarily. So don't go anywhere. Go get a drink, and we'll see you after this short break.
Bye.